How you going, people? Buddy. Buddy's over there like, dude, what are you doing? How you going, people? Interesting little case here. This morning, man, I'm telling you, I'm still laughing about that Alex. Look at those eyes. He's an MWD. He's a rat. Dude, that was the funniest confrontation. I heard they banned, they totally kicked off Alex Jones from Twitter now. Banned for life because the CNN guy said he was bullied. And it's just crazy. And Twitter announced this morning that they're thinking of maybe banning other Twitter accounts who are supporting Alex Jones and using their support to circumvent their ban. I mean, this is straight up out of communism. This is communism 101. I mean, it's just outrageous on how they can squash alternative talk. But I wanted to talk about the Dallas incident. So, last night in Dallas, actually, there's another thing I'm going to do on some knucklehead ran his car into the newscast here in Dallas, and I was going to do a video on that because all the people were inside with their little cameras videotaping. But this video, if I can stay on point, is about a Dallas officer, a female officer. Rick, you can't say female. You're trying to say she's quota hire. I just said female officer. You can take it for what it's worth. A female officer, after working a long and tiresome night shift, got off work at 10 p.m. last night and went home to her apartment and found somebody inside, pulled out her gun, and shot him. And that's all we know. Oh, there's one other thing. It wasn't her apartment. She went a wrong guy. She went and killed a 26-year-old guy in his own apartment, minding his own business. She was off duty after she got off work, went home, too stupid to go in her own apartment. She went in this guy's apartment and shot him because she thought he was an intruder. Well, wait a minute. They're not saying she thought he was an intruder. I mean, I've never seen such tap dancing. I'll add in a little interview that they did.
Last name is M-I-T-C-H-E-L-L, Sergeant with the Dallas Police Department. Are we ready? Okay, last night, just before 10 p.m., a Dallas officer called police dispatch saying that she had just been involved in a shooting at these apartment complex in the 1200 block of South Lamar. Now, preliminary information suggests that the officer is in full uniform and just finished working a full shift. And then she reported to responding officers that when she came home, she entered into the victim's apartment believing it was her own apartment. And at some point, she pulled her weapon and shot the victim. The responding officers administered aid to the 26-year-old male victim until the paramedics arrived, at which time he was transported to an area hospital where he was pronounced deceased. And this remains a joint investigation with the Dallas Police Department and District Attorney's office. So, you know, as information becomes available, we will be sure to update you accordingly.
And the sergeant that interviews kind of tap dances around. Actually, I think he did a pretty good job on being kind of nice and looked like he cared and passing on the government lies. But other than that, he didn't say anything. There's a whole bunch of questions that they're not letting out, and I don't know why. It's supposedly there's a joint investigation. I mean, hell, it's what, 9, 10 o'clock? That's 12 hours after shooting. They still haven't given any more information. So all they're saying, all the police department is saying, she got off work, she came home, accidentally entered her wrong apartment, found a guy inside, something happened, they won't say what happened, they're just saying something happened, and she shot the guy multiple times, not once, multiple times, and he died, 26 years old. Oh no, they said Other officers that responded gave first aid to the guy. Yeah, we know what that is. Put your gloves on and wait for the paramedics, you know. Kick him. Hey, dude, stay away. That's their first aid. Rick, you can't say that. You weren't there. I'm just going by what... Look, this case is going to be very interesting in a lot of ways, because did she know the guy? How does she not know her own damn apartment? How did she get in her apartment? Did her key work? Was the door unlocked? Does she always leave her door unlocked? Why did she go in the wrong apartment? How is she so stupid? We have this female who's graduated the academy, who's out on the streets, carrying a gun, able to perform deadly force and take away people's rights. She has to do reports. She has to know basic law. She has to testify in court. And she can't find her own damn apartment? Are you kidding me? And oh, you know, I just did that thing on Dallas police complaining that they didn't get paid enough and they were losing officers. Well, a couple days ago, they did a new report now, and now they just gave Dallas police a whole new raise. They're all making 60 grand a year base salary. Let's see, starting now is 50, and then after they're a job, they automatically get a 3%. And so that's going to get them in par with it. They didn't go into all the other benefits. I guarantee you, most Dallas officers are making 75 to 80 grand a year, and they just got themselves a raise by holding the city hostage, saying, public safety, you better give us a raise or all the police are going to leave. When was the last time you saw a bunch of police quit their job? Let me help you out. Zero. Cops don't quit government jobs. Unless they have another job, they just don't quit. So, you know, this bullshit about hostage taking and getting them to pay more money was one thing. But as I said before, it's never about pay. It's about environment and job and supervisors and promoting quota hires and hiring quota hires and not promoting good people and not having standards and lowering the standards so you can hire quota hires. And now when you lower the standards so you can hire quota hires, now you got quota hires going home, can't find their own damn apartment. I mean, just think about the ignorance a person has to be to not be able to find her own apartment. Not only does she not find her own apartment, she goes inside and doesn't realize she's in the wrong apartment. She doesn't realize her key doesn't work, the door, the surroundings, the furniture. She doesn't recognize any of that. Sees a guy living in his own apartment, pulls out her gun and shoots him. So my first thought on this is, I mean, I'm not even on the investigation, but from an investigator standpoint, my first thought is, she's on drugs, she's under the influence. How does she do her shift? How does this woman freaking put on her pants in the morning to get to work when she doesn't know how to get in her own damn apartment? Does she know this guy? Is there any prior relationship? Is there any prior problems? Is there any disturbances between the two? Are these apartments so much alike? Were they on the same floor? I mean, if she was on a different floor, that even makes it worse. But if they're on the same floor, are the doors so much... I mean, I know the apartments. I ought to go by there and freaking videotape the apartments and have questions for them, because this is going to be the most covered up organization around, or investigation, because she's a female. And they're not saying whether she's a black or Hispanic or transgender female, because if it's any of those things, it'll even be more covered up. Because if you try to find anything wrong about it, it'll be, oh, you're sexist, you're anti-woman, you're anti-gay, you're anti-lesbian, you're anti-Hispanic, you're anti-black. So you'll never be, that'll be more facts hidden. But, I mean, just think of the absurdity. You got cops killing people on the street, and I get it. Mistakes are going to happen. But you got a cop getting off work who's been carrying a gun all night, running around, giving out probably freaking parking tickets, and now she can't find her way in her own damn apartment, and she kills a dude in his own I mean, we're not talking about a search warrant mistake. We're not talking about getting a warrant and we got drugs involved and we're entering a house tactically to freaking secure a wanted felon. We're not talking any of that. We're talking about you go in someone else's apartment. Oh, she was in full uniform. So, I mean, if I woke up and there was a cop in full uniform, I'd probably be like, what the fuck are you doing in my apartment? But if you're too stupid to find your own apartment, did she just pull her gun out and shoot this guy? Did this guy try to push her out in uniform and attack her? Was this guy a criminal and maybe he had dope and he thought it was a raid? I mean, there's so many freaking questions and the cops are like, and again, either I already played the video or I added in. The sergeant's like, well, we don't know a whole lot of information and we can't. And he says, we didn't even interview the officer yet. And in his news report, he goes, we didn't interview the officer. I go, really? You respond to a killing, a dead guy, an officer-involved shooting. She's in a wrong apartment. She shoots an unarmed dude in his own apartment, and you didn't interview her? And you want me to believe that has a citizen with more than one brain cell, that you guys have been on scene, you had multiple officers, you're doing a press release, and you're telling me you didn't interview the officer that shot somebody in the wrong apartment?
I won't go into that information right now. I mean, we have not interviewed her, and this is just, like I said, this is just a preliminary statement. We still have...
This case stinks from high heaven already. You know what? It's normally not the crime, it's normally the cover-up. There's going to be so much cover-up and hiding and concealing that nobody's going to believe it. I mean, this case, I mean, just the implications that a cop can't find her own damn apartment, and we're paying this person probably 70 grand a year and putting her out on the streets, contacting citizens, and she can't find her own damn apartment. Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, this is just outrageous. And you know what? This is going to be squashed and backdoor news, and especially if she's a woman of color or of not straight sex. You know, you think anybody's going to pull her records and say, how did she get through the academy? How can somebody get through a police academy and they can't find her own damn apartment? She just got off work, so she shouldn't be drinking. She was in full uniform, so she shouldn't be on drugs or drinking. Did they take blood? Did they do a felony blood draw because a felony was just committed and she used a firearm? So we can tell if she had drugs or alcohol in her system? Or did they forget that? I mean, if they didn't interview her, hell, they probably didn't do anything else. This case is going to be a bucket, and I hope people ask questions. But you know what? People are so tired of corrupt. You know, everybody's just. We'll see how it goes. All right, we'll end that there. Okay, finally, like 24 hours later, they're finally releasing who the guy that was shot. Uh-oh. It wasn't a big case before, now it's a big case. He was a black man. They're not saying whether he was here legally or not, whether he was past his visa. They're just saying he was from Caribbean Island, I think. Anyway, they said where he was from, and now the police chief is saying an arrest warrant will soon be issued for the police officer that shot and killed. They're not releasing her name, but somewhere in here they said she was, hold your ears, people, white. She was a white person. She shot a black person. Now it's an issue. All day it wasn't an issue. Anyway, you know, I'm so tired of the black and white. You never know what's going to happen until you find out the color. Absolutely ridiculous. So they're issuing an arrest warrant. They did say in this article that they did take a blood test. Texas Rangers came in, I guess, to help with the shooting, and they said, let's see, down here, the incident, Texas Rangers, a blood sample was taken from the officer to test for drugs and alcohol. That could probably help her or protect her, but, I mean, there's still a whole bunch kind of like, how did she get in? Did she use a key? You know, all kind of things. But, all right, we know who the guy is, black. We know the suspect is white. That's all we need to know. We got a conviction, grand jury, riots on the way, because it ain't about truth or justice. It's about color. We'll end that there.